What is up, Sneeples? Outsiders is here. We are going to be talking about the generic cards that got released and what decks can use them, how they're going to be used. So let's get to it. We got a lot to cover. First off, we have Vambrace of Determination. Originally was very down on this card. However, after playtesting, yes, it is very effective against one of the boogaboos of the last meta, which is Oldhim. So if you have the room for it and you feel like you're going to be going against some Oldhims, this is a card to use. And Oldhims beware. As an Oldhim player, I was not convinced that this would be enough, but by gosh, depending on the hero, man, this did work, and I'm a little worried about it. So Vambrace of Determination, a very good card in CC for sure, if you expect to see a lot of Oldhims. In Limited, you obviously get it. It's a legendary. And then in Blitz, I'm not sure. Seeker's Hood. These are very good limited cards. I especially like this if you're like an Azalea, just because of the opt, which is actually really good. But yeah, these are good against like Benji and Uzuri as well. So just solid cards to draft. Silken Gi. I like this if you're Benji, because like it could make an attack, be unblockable, which is kind of cool. I don't even mind this like in a few other decks, like maybe like a Ranger for limited, but I think it's really just a limited card. Threadbare Tunic, I think is really your Ranger limited card here, just because it allows you to gain that one extra resource to shoot your bow if you like spend all your resources loading it up. So I like that card a lot, especially for Ranger. Fisticuffs. I think this is just overall the great hands to have, especially if you're like an Uzuri deck or an Azalea deck or just a deck with a lot of on hits. So like basically every deck. So it's just overall a very good card in limited. Again, just limited. Fleetfoot Sandals, really just a Benji card. Could be an Arachne card though too. There's a lot of one attack stealth cards out there that will get past your way if you choose to be Arachne. Just a limited card. All right, now let's get into some Majestics where we might see these cards outside of limited. So let's talk about Amnesia, a 2-for-6 that blocks for 3, which is very big. And then basically is like an anti-ninja card, really, because it definitely hurts Fi, or it definitely hurts Katsu quite a bit, hurts Fi a little bit, and that's really about it. They came out the rulings on this saying that it doesn't hurt every card that has its own name in it. Maybe Uzuri plays this in CC. The fact that it blocks for 3 is actually really nice. If Katsu becomes a menace in the meta, this I could see get more popular amongst like Uzuri decks or even Reinhardt decks. I don't really think it gets really too much played outside of those heroes though. Down and Dirty. Interesting card, very interesting card that you can block from your arsenal. I think the maximum value you get out of this is blocking a Phantasm attack from your arsenal with this card. I think that's the maximum value you really get out of this. So personally not very big on it. I don't think it really gets played in any sort of constructed format. Not a bad card to pick up though in limited. I mean, it's a good card to switch into with Uzuri. Give and Take. I think this card actually has some room to play. I think this card is a pretty damn good card to play into possibly Briar. Just because the way that it works and the errata came out for this card is that for each card defending it, you can put an attack or an action card on top of your deck, which is really big. As long as it costs less than Give and Take's power. So imagine having a Channel Mount Heroic out there, and then it's like, oh boy, you have basically access to every card that you can just put on top of your deck with Briar, including Channel Mount Heroic itself. So very, very cool card for Briar, I think. I don't even know though if it's gonna be included in Briar. I personally like it. It blocks for 3 as well, so it's like a good attack that blocks for 3. So I personally like it. I think it's worth a shot in Briar. I don't really know about any other hero, but I think it's a card that might be on the radar for other heroes as well. I think it's worth giving a shot. I think Blitz would even like it. Gore Belching is an interesting card. It's a good Uzuri card in limited. In constructed, I don't think so. There's just better cards. And then I really see that's just about it. Maybe a Benji style deck. Feels probably not. It's probably just an Uzuri type card. It's a fun card. Burdens of the Past is a very interesting card. I don't mind it in limited so much because for ninjas it passed the test of being a blue pitch, costing 0 and blocking for 3. So in ninjas, not so bad, but I don't know if you ever really play this card. If Riptide gets huge in the meta, okay, I could see that. If Fatigue Oldhim becomes the type of Oldhim, okay, I could see that. Past those two decks, though, I don't really see this getting much value and probably should not be played in Constructed right now. Now, Premeditate, however, should be played in Constructed, and that goes for all Ranger heroes and possibly aggressive heroes as well. Definitely all the Rangers would want it because they get the maximum value, being able to get the +3, being able to create the Ponder, which is huge for Rangers. Lexi likes this a lot. She has 2 opportunities to make it happen. Azalea has a dominant attack to make sure it happens. And Riptide could also have 2 opportunities to make this happen. And it reloads for Riptide, so it's pretty good. Now for like aggro type heroes like, Briar and Chain in Blitz run Plunder Run because those are good cards and both those heroes tend to go wide. I don't think Premeditate is better than Plunder Run. And for Blitz, I don't think we're going to see it so much in Blitz for aggro heroes. And then as far as for CC, it really becomes a question of what is this taking over. Maybe I could see it for a Briar deck. I don't know about a Phi deck. I don't think it's quite there. Maybe I don't really think it's there for Phi, but maybe for Briar. Briar might be able to use this and enjoy using it. Humble, this is a Uzuri card, really. Maybe Reiner would use it, but probably Uzuri. And even at that, it only blocks for 2, which is kind of a bummer. But there's a lot of heroes where this really matters, and there's some heroes where it just kind of doesn't. So I think Uzuris can play this card the most effectively, and I don't hate it to have the red ones in Uzuri decks, but that's about it. In limited, I love this card. Love this card in limited. Infectious Host, I think this is also just like a limited card, but I really like it. It's a 0 for 4 in red, and then in yellows and blues, it's good for Kodachis. So I really like this card. There's no on hit. You just have to have the token in an attack to give them that token. So pretty damn good. Looking for a scrap. I originally was very low on this card. I've increased a little bit on it in limited. It can be a 1 for 5 go again, but conditions have to be met. Otherwise, it's just a 1 for 4 no go again, which is actually kind of lame. I probably only like the red in limited and in constructed. I could see maybe in a blitz type deck with Arachne or Benji. Probably not though. Probably just a limited type card. All right, next up is Wreck Havoc. This is your Command and Conquer at home, right? Like, this is the cheap version of Command and Conquer, and I kind of wish it just did a little bit. I mean, I guess we all wish it did a little bit more. Maybe just block for 3, right? I don't really think this gets played out of limited right now. I just don't think it has enough going for it to see any hero try it out. So, especially when you have Command and Conquer. Cut down the size. I really like this card in limited a lot, and I don't mind it with Uzuri. I think going against aggro decks that just typically don't want to block you anyways, this basically forces them to take a card out of their hand, which is absolutely what is needed in order to slow them down, which is great. So I do like this card in Uzuri. Not very huge into it in any other hero, but very huge into it in limited. Destructive Deliberation might be one of the best cards in limited. If you're Uzuri, if you're Benji, if you're whatever. I mean, just the Ponder token is very big. It's a 2 for 5 in red. It's just a good card. I don't think it sees outside of limited though. Feisty Locals, again, I don't think it's going to see outside of limited. A good ender if they're at low health. If your opponent is at like, I don't know, 2 health, they can't just put 1 card in front of it. They have to put 2 cards, which is pretty cool. So I think this card has some value. I don't think it's the best limited generic card, but it's okay. Freewheeling Renegades, I think another just very good limited card only. Forces your opponent to block, which is always good, especially if it's like a Ninja Mirror. You want to force your opponent to block. It's very good. Ravenous Rabble. People love this card in limited, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't. I really don't. I understand it's a 0 for whatever go again, but in constructed, it's going to be a 0 for 4 go again most of the times, unless like you're an all red Draw My deck, which is all the time. That's not the case in limited. You know what I mean? There's a lot of blues out there. There's a lot of yellows out there. Unless you drafted like an all red line deck, which I guess you'd be Arachne or Zuri at that point, I don't really see this card giving you the same value that it does in constructed. So I don't particularly understand why people are so huge on this card in limited. I think it's okay. I don't mind the yellow for Benji or Katsu. I don't know. I'm just not huge on Ravenous Rabble. I think it's good for Riptide in limited, just because it has the go again, which lets you reload so you can get 2 attacks off of Riptide. I should say that. I think it is good for Riptide. Seek Horizon, another reprint here. In limited, this is good for Azalea. But the 0 for 4, it's just good. You should just play this card. But particularly good for Azalea just because you can put a card on top to know what it is, so that when you use Azalea's ability, you'll hit the arrow to give it the dominate, and then you're good to go. So Seek Horizon, very good in limited. Very good for ninjas as well, just because, again, the 0 cost. And then just coming for Spring Load. Admittedly, wasn't very big on this card, but now I'm huge on this card. I see his power. It's very, very good. Kadachi Spring Load. Whew. Spider Bite Spring Load. Whew. Spring Load, it's so good. A 1 for 5 in this set's just really good. So I like this card a lot in limited, and only in limited. This card does not see play in any constructed format. Come to Fight, another reprint. This card's very good in limited only because it blocks for 3. So that part is extremely nice. But as far as constructed goes, this card's been around, and there's just better cards out there. I've seen a few people use this for Briar. Not huge. Because it could block for 4 in Briar, but just not that big into that. So yeah. Very good card. I think all heroes like this card in limited. Maybe Zuri the least. Anyways, Scout the Periphery. I actually think this is a card that we could see in Classic Constructed, maybe even in Blitz for the Rangers. As far as Azalea goes, really. She's the one that gets the most value out of knowing what the top card of her deck is. I think you almost always choose your own. Just take that O out like that. There it is. So I like this a lot for Azalea. I don't mind this for Riptide and limited just because it reloads the arsenal, which is always very nice. But definitely a Ranger card for sure, without being Ranger. It just says generic. All right, Brush Off. Brush Off is actually pretty big because Benji and Uzuri are very real. And this is one of the few things that helps, especially if they came in with a Spider Bite beforehand to help negate the lost block potential, basically. Just beware, because Brush Off is worded in a way that you have to be dealt 3 or less damage to prevent it. If you were dealt like 6 damage, you can't just play this card to prevent 3 of it. That just doesn't work, so it's kind of annoying. So just be aware of that. I think the red's really good. Blue might be good for like, I ninja list. I don't know. Peace of Mind wasn't very big on this card either. Still kind of not, but I do think that Riptide and Uzuri uses this card very, very well, and that should be considered. As far as in Constructed goes, you could play this card as Oldhim. I think that's about it. I think only Oldhim would play this card, but I don't necessarily even think you have to. I think if you're going Fatigue Oldhim, it's worth trying out. All right, and there we go. That is all the generics for the Outsiders set. A lot of them just good within their own set. Can't really say that there's any heroes outside of Outsiders that are getting a huge bump here. But maybe Briar with the give and take. So we'll see. I could see that, as well as Premeditate. I could see that one being used as well. I think those are the biggest winners here. Anyways, guys, that's all the Outsider sets. We have the other heroes if you haven't checked them out in the classes. So if you want to go see how I value those cards for the Constructed scene, go check them out. But until then, keep on fabbing. Hey guys, thanks for watching this video. If you like this shirt or the others we have just like it, we sell shirts and keychains and more to come. Go to fleshandbaubles.com, enter the promo Sneep, and you can get 10% off your entire order. Some really cool stuff, some really cool gift ideas. We would really appreciate your help supporting us. Thank you.